Morning, and I hope everything is going well. And I'm glad that you've actually come to me for your sessions and getting to become better in whatever you're going through. But there are a few things that we need to discuss, such as confidentiality. Now, I'm going to let you know that there are two types of confidentiality that we're going to be dealing with. The first one is between you and your lawyers, if you have them, if that information is strictly between you two. And the next one is with you and I. And let you know, though we're going to be doing counseling sessions, as charged the notes we take, I'm going to have a file form, and that's going to be separate from everything else that actually goes on. And we will keep that strictly confidential. But when I talk about confidentiality, I'm going to let you know that there are a couple of exceptions to the rule. The first exception being if you gave me permission to share this information with anybody that you wanted to see, then I would be able to disclose some of the information that is going on within the sessions. Now, say like you needed me to share this information with your primary care physician. I wouldn't share any like deepest, darkest secrets, but like personal information such as like your date of birth, social security number, they would actually need that information. So I would be liable to give it to them. Second, if we're going to be working together, so say like you want a family member or sibling, any other relative to join the session, I would need you to sign any release confidentiality so they can actually join in the session, and then they would be educated on confidentiality too, knowing that the session is between all of us. Next thing, insurance. Now, I won't release any progress notes to your insurance company, but like I said, anything on the charts can be reviewed on site if need be. And whatever it lets you know, the information will be, if the information is passed on to the insurance company, so anything is billed to them, they actually do receive that information, but they do not receive the progress notes. Now, they do receive the types of sessions that we're doing, the length of the sessions, and any other personal information that we were just previously discussing. So the next thing would be if you have any intentions of self-harm and harming someone else. So things such as suicidal ideation, we would have to discuss it with law enforcement. Now, I'm going to tell you this, I'm not going to do that right off the bat, because the idea, we're going to be discussing that together. If you have any ideas of suicide, we're going to talk you right through it. But if you try to perform any self-harm, then I would have to get law enforcement involved and provide that information to them. Now, if you had any thoughts of warning any of your relatives or anything like that, I would have to warn them, because of the fact my goal is to keep you safe and keep the people around you safe as well. And so I would have to warn them because it's actually the law to do so, and a part of our agreement and confidentiality. Now, I wouldn't automatically call the police. I'll take it upon myself to actually discuss any suicidal ideation. I may discuss that with my supervisor as well to see what he would want to do. Now, the other thing that we would have to discuss is any mandated reports. So if there is any ideas of, or you casually discuss the abuse of any children, any neighbor, any children, any elderly, I would have to report that. I would have to report it to law enforcement because that is a mandated report. And again, my job is to also keep everybody safe. That includes you, but that also includes everybody around you. Or another thing could be if you have neighbors and you casually bring them up during the session, we will mainly have to report that as well, because if there's any abuse from your neighbors to their children or their elderly, I would have to report that too, because that's part of mandated reporting. Again, a lot of this information is going to be between me and you, but this is the catalyst, or this is the exceptions of confidentiality that we're going to be going through. So I hope you just want you to let you know that before the session starts. But the final thing that final exception that we will be discussing is any civil or criminal acts that you may have. I would have to report that if, for example, you get subpoenaed into court and they needed the evidence and the judge asked me to provide that evidence from the counseling sessions. Now you could say, you want that to be non-disclosure, and I'll do the best I can. But if it's a subpoena, then I have no choice but to release that information to them because we are in the court of law. So that's also me testifying. I would have to provide that evidence to them and for them.